Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
I think a lot of us are ignorant about the struggles that it takes to be a student at Desert Oasis sometimes.
I mean, for all of you Dragon Ball fans out there, he went Super Saiyan inside that courtroom, with all due respect. I mean, it was just like a straight out of a movie. Everything was about to fall, and for some reason, you guys were able to live.
And not only that, but to not be shy, to just be yourself and keep going.
Welcome to VibeZ. I'm Dr. Tom Tackey, the executive producer and creator of VibeZ. And this morning we have a really special show ready for you. We have the Desert Oasis High School mock trial team here. So, and they're going to talk all mock trial and all of that. So let's get the introductions done and get into the content.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Eduardo Betancourt. I am the mock trial coach at Desert Oasis / Phoenix Rising High School. I've been a coach there for almost 10 years. And I'm just briefly introducing myself, and I'd like to introduce some other guests that we have here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monica Lepenegrete. I'm a Superior Court judge here. I was originally a coach for the team years back, and lately I've been mentoring along with a Deputy District Attorney by the name of Eric Alizade, who unfortunately could not be here today, but he is sorely missed, right?
That's right.
There you go.
Now, I'd like to go ahead and pass the mic here on to my mock trial students. There are a few more mock trial students that are here today, so I'll start with.
Hi, my name is Alia Sanchez. I'm a junior, and I was a clerk for 2 years.
Hi, my name is Victor Cuesta, and I was a witness for about 2 weeks.
Hello, my name is Antonio Beltran, and I've been doing mock trial for 3 years. I've been a bailiff, attorney, and expert witnesses.
Hi, my name is Leah Buffington. I'm a senior, and I did 2 expert witnesses.
So I'm going to kind of turn this over to the mock trial team for them to talk their game and everything that has happened. I know there's a lot to be talked about in terms of DO having a mock trial team and the challenges and the successes that you've had. So let's hear from you.
Sure, Tom, thank you. So once again, my name is Mr. Betancourt. Everybody there at Desert Oasis Phoenix Rising knows me as Mr. B. I've been working at this continuation school for a very long time. I think I lost track, after 18 years. But it's been very rewarding working at this school because I get to see students from all walks of life. I myself can see myself in a lot of these students because I also had a lot of struggles. I, in fact, went to a continuation school when I was in high school. I dropped out at the age of 16, but then after seeing what the world was like, I got myself back to school and I was able to graduate. So I'm able to connect with a lot of these students, as I mentioned. And so I started mock trial about 10 years ago at this continuation school here in El Centro, California. And what inspired me in a way was seeing a teacher who went by the name of Ron Nicholson. He started the mock trial at Desert Oasis back in, I believe, 2006, 2007. And so after seeing what he was doing with these kids, after a while, I was able to pick up on that and create this mock trial team back in 2015, I believe. And so ever since then, it's been going pretty strong. So to kind of just break it down, it's been an amazing experience working with these kids. A lot of these kids usually come to us because of their grades. A lot of people, unfortunately, have a stereotype that these are bad students, but to be honest, these are not bad students. These are amazing students. They just needed an opportunity to get themselves back up on their feet, and so they've been able to prove to the whole Imperial Valley that these students are capable of standing alongside of these other schools and facing facing off, when it comes to mock trials, because we know it's a very rigorous sport. It requires a lot of reading, requires writing, the listening, the speaking, the critical thinking. Right? There's so many skills that are involved, and to see how a student can come in a matter of, say, a day or a week and be at the level of any other student is truly, truly impressive, and that's what the other schools are missing out on. I don't know whether it was maybe they needed another opportunity or they needed a chance or what it could have been, but the truth of the matter is that they are amazing at what they do. And so I want to go ahead and just really quick just pass the mic to our mentor, who is Judge Mónica Lepe-Negrete. She's been working with us for many years. I would say maybe 6-7 years, give or take, Your Honor.
Yeah,
right? And so I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to the judge. Thanks.
All right. Hi to everyone again, and hi to the students. I know a few of you are missing from the team, and I'm sad to see that, but I understand. Sometimes it's just not possible. Like Mr. Alizade is not here today, and I want to give a shout out to him because I know that he's put in a lot of effort with this team this year and the team before that. And I sort of roped him into it. And from the very get-go, he was super excited to work with all of you. I hope you know that. And even when he loses his patience, even when he drives you crazy, he does it from the bottom of his heart, and he really cares about you guys. So I hope you guys know that. Understand that he drives you because he wants the best for you, okay? And I stepped back. I became a mentor because I, too, had difficulty understanding what it required to be a full-time coach as an attorney coach for Desert Oasis. I think a lot of us are ignorant about the struggles that it takes to be a student at Desert Oasis sometimes. I think a lot of these students are dealing with hardships some of us would break under, and so I'm extremely proud of them. And so when I stepped back to be a mentor, I thought it best to do so, one, because of my schedule, but two, because I wanted more hands on deck. So we brought in an attorney coach as well, and then we have Mr. B to work with you guys. So it's a bunch of us trying to work with you, help you, but I'll be honest, Mr. B keeps us going year in, year out. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you do, because you don't know how lucky you are to have an amazing teacher like him. I think back to my time in high school, and yes, it was a long time ago, but there is very few teachers in my history that I remember like I will one day. I hope you will agree, you will remember Mr. B, okay? Who didn't give up on you even when you were having a bad day, who didn't give up on you even when you sassed back, who didn't give up on you no matter what your grades were, and never made you feel bad about it, okay? I had a teacher like that, and I will always forever be grateful. I come from a neighborhood where most kids don't expect to make it out alive, let alone to college and law school and beyond. Most kids were written off in my neighborhood, just like I was. So I understand what it's like to come from a background where you're not expected to succeed, but you do, in fact, succeed, and you can, and I know you guys can. And like Mr. B said, I think all students from time to time struggle, and some of us just need a second chance, right? Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah? I hope so. My time with mock trial this year has been a little less than before for personal health reasons, but I will be back full-time next year, and I hope to see you guys again. When I show up to mock trial, when I see you guys practice, when I see you guys compete, because I did do some of the judging for mock trial this year, I didn't get to see you guys compete because I'm not allowed to judge you since I have a little bias, right? It wouldn't be fair. I'd give you guys a few extra points, and I can't do that, right? So knowing that, I can't judge you, but I was there a couple of times where you guys were, I thought, about to fall apart, and yet you brought it together at the last minute, like you always do, because people were brave enough. Some of you were brave enough to step into roles you didn't know little to nothing about. Am I correct? Say yes, because I know it's right. Don't be shy. Okay, take credit where credit is due. And so I'm really, really proud of you guys. So know that, and hopefully I'll see you guys next year from the start. You guys are coming back, right? Yes. I know one of you is a senior, but the rest of you are coming back, right?
We only have one, Your Honor, that's actually coming back. That's one of the things that we have at Desert Oasis. Usually, every year, we have to start over. We have to start from scratch.
Why is that, Mr. B?
And that's because a lot of the students either end up going back to their feeder schools or because they're graduating, right?
It's a good thing, right?
It is. It is. And I hope that this experience that you guys have kind of taken is definitely going to help you in the long run. And I want to thank you for your kind words because, I mean, it's not just me that's putting the hard work, but if it weren't for these students, if it weren't for the kids, I wouldn't be here, right? We wouldn't be here. And so I definitely want to thank you guys for all the hard work and the dedication because we know it requires a lot of work. I mean, the heavy lifting is done by you guys. We're just there to support you, to help you and guide you, but you guys are the ones that actually set off on that journey, right? And so I don't want to hog the mic here, and I definitely want to start off with who would like to go first. Yeah, why don't we do this? I'm going to start with Antonio. And he, in fact, is perhaps one of the only, I think you're the second. There's only been 2 mock trial students that have actually been with me for 3 years, and you're one of them. So I want to go ahead and have you speak and share some of your experiences, Antonio. So,
thank you. Well, as you know, my name is Antonio, and yeah, I don't even know where to start. I've come from Mexicali, obviously, and it's been pretty harsh ever since I managed to obviously start by speaking Spanish and break through that language wall. And ever since, I've been growing. I made many mistakes, and I went through it every time. It felt hard to just keep making many mistakes. It felt like I couldn't stand up. And every time I did that, I would see Ventricord helping me there to stand up once again. And with the experience of mock trial, I've been able to overcome that. On this long-lasting years, I learned to communicate, to respect, to understand, and not only that, but to not be shy, to just be yourself and keep going, because no matter what goes on outside of school or inside of school, nothing can really stop you if you just have the mindset of just keep going, to have that fire that keeps you alive. And from my experience, I've seen people come and go, people that have given up and people that come back. And I wish that anyone that's over there that have quitted or have moved on, I hope you guys are doing fine. And that I wish you guys were here to experience what I've experienced too. I wish that you guys can see that I've grown up, that I've been somebody else. And from how I've seen myself and how other people have seen me, I think I would say that I managed to get through all of it. And as a senior, I think that mock trial has been a experience I will never forget, and I hope to keep working with this because it's something that people should not just forget about or just leave it as what it is.
Yeah, Antonio, can you tell us some of the roles that you took on throughout your 3 years of mock trial?
Oh, let's not forget about that, right? Well, I've been doing many roles for my past years. I've done expert witnesses, my bailiff role, obviously, and the attorney role that I did last year, which was less than 1 day, actually. And that day, it felt like a nightmare, I'll be honest. It really just, I felt like everything was crumbling at that day, at that night. And it's just, I had to do it because nobody else would have done it. And I felt like I was the only platform for the team to keep going. And if I wasn't there, the team wouldn't be able to keep participating. So it felt like I was doing something. I felt like I was doing enough in that moment. So when I was done with the attorney role, I just felt relief that I managed to get through it, and how I just, less than 1 day, I managed to get through it. I also want to talk about my bailiff role. I've been a bailiff for 3 years, and every time that I've done it, I learn from other people and I learn from my mistakes. And ever since, I felt like I've been better each time, and it's something that I want to focus on the future. So yeah, mock trial can be something that can help you in the future.
You know, I do want to mention something because, Your Honor, thank you for saying it, that there's been times where this team is like close to crumbling and collapsing. But for some reason, it's the kids that step in. They step up to the plate. As Edgar mentioned, or Antonio mentioned, sorry, that there was a day where we had only a few hours to prepare to get someone in there in that attorney role, or we weren't going to be able to participate. And so in a matter of hours, he was able to take on the opening statement, the questions for the witnesses, the cross-examination, the closing arguments, and the objections. And he was able to perform and help us because I believe that day, Antonio, correct me if I'm wrong, did we lose 3 students that day?
Oh, that is correct. It was a living nightmare.
And talk. Okay, so Antonio, there was that one day where there was a little bit of foreshadowing, there was some thunder, there was lightning, there was rain. I mean, it was just crazy, and we only had like a few hours where you had to go in as his attorney and memorize and learn the questions, the direct examination, the cross-examination, the opening, the closing, along with the objections. What was your feeling about that when you went in?
My first thought was, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? It felt so horrible to just see how much my team has worked just to not be there. And when I was there standing, I felt trembling. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to do this. But at the end of it, I managed to get through it and got our team to stand up again.
And thank you for that, because, I mean, it took a lot of heart. It took a lot of guts to go in there knowing that you weren't, as prepared as the other team where they had months to prepare. And being at Desert Oasis, we're usually a small team. I mean, if anything, we usually have 8, 9 students at most. Your Honor, I think, what was the last time we had maybe 12 students? Do you remember?
It's probably about 4 or 5 years ago when we had a couple students come back.
That's true. So, and that's one of our disadvantages that we have being at a continuation high school. I mean, we love it when the kids go back to their feeder schools, but unfortunately, we tend to lose a lot of students because they're either graduating ahead of time or they're simply going back to either Central or Southwest. Now, I'd like to go ahead and pass the mic to Victor, who is a student who came to us from, I believe, Poway High School in San Diego. He came in, I believe, the first couple of weeks of January. So, Victor, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself really quick and then tell us about your experience there at Desert Oasis.
All right. My name is Victor Cuesta, and I recently moved back to the Valley from Poway High School in San Diego. I arrived here at the school, Desert Oasis, about 2 weeks into the semester, I think. And by that time, the tournament for mock trial was about to start. I showed up the day before there was the first match, so I decided to go with Mr. B because he asked me to, obviously. And I thought it was pretty cool, so I was like, I'll stay in this class, I'll see how it plays out. And he told me that I wouldn't be taking on any roles this year, but guess who lied? So I had to take on about 3 roles, all last minute. First, I took on the role of the Deputy Sheriff, Riley Kim, and I had about a week to study for him before I had to actually go into the court as him. Then I also played CJ Costley. I had 3 hours to study CJ Costley. They were a podcaster over in Emerald Bend. And last but not least, I had to study 1 hour for the role of Harper DeRay, which is one of the main characters in this cast. And honestly, I think I did pretty well for the little amount of time that I had. And I hope next year when I come back, I'll do even better.
Well, I'll say one thing. He did pretty well because he actually got the MVP award, I believe, for that witness. And the last time I saw that was with another student we had, Blade Dominguez, years ago, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And he had only a matter of hours. I think we were in the actual courthouse, and he was going over the questions, and he got that MVP. And so when you got that too, I'm thinking, my gosh, what a coincidence. So whether it was destiny or whatever you want to call it, I mean, it was the fact that you came to us when we needed you. You were there. And I thank you for that. So let's go ahead and pass the mic down to Ms. Buffington. Ms.
Well,
Buffington.
before we move on, I'd like to say something about the MVP award. It is not an easy award to get. So I wanted to make a little bit of a big deal about it, no pun intended, because I think it's not just about getting up on the stand and playing the part like you said. It's not about regurgitating whatever script you had. It's about the attitude, the oomph, the special sass you put into who you're supposed to be on that day that captures your audience. You not only, to get the MVP, you have to get all of those other students on the other side to agree to something. And you know how hard it is to get you guys to agree to anything, even where you guys want to go pick up fast food. So to get that MVP, it should mean a lot to you. And I hope you understand how proud you should be of yourself and how proud we are of you for that award, especially because you had very little time to prepare for it. So whatever it is that you did on that day, keep it up because it worked. It was magic. People listened to what you had to say. So remember that, okay?
So thank you, Your Honor, for those words. And let's go ahead and hear from Ms. Buffington. So,
hello, I'm Leah Buffington. I joined mock trial this January as a filler class, and then I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I met new people, and it was fun doing that. I had took on two witness roles for both prosecution and defense, and I think for prosecution I took on Ali Sandoval, which was a short role. I barely got to speak in it, but it was still fun either way. And then for defense, I took on the role of Dr. Cody Palmer. Learning that role was a mouthful, and it was hard, but there was times when I stood on the stand and I froze up a lot, but after a while, I got comfortable, and I word vomited everything out. So.
And as you got comfortable in that role, I mean, the fact that you also took an MVP award, is that?
Yes, I got outstanding prosecution witness for Ali Sandoval.
Now, I just want to congratulate you on that, and all of you guys, obviously, for the hard work and dedication. It shows that the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? And
yes.
It was amazing to see you there. So.
Well, we all worked really hard, so I'd say we all deserve a round of applause for everything we put into it. So.
You said something right now. You said you regurgitated everything. I think you did more than that. Again, remember the MVP award is not an easy award to get. It's not something, they're giving out to every student there that evening. They give it to one student for a particular role. And I need you to understand how special your performance was that day. Even if you struggled on the other days, even if you felt you could have done better, they saw something. They listened to you. And you should be really proud of yourself. You didn't just regurgitate something. And you had two roles. It's your first year coming in. You want to talk about, as a witness, you don't get to see a script in front of you. You have to go up there cold turkey.
Oh, no, you have to memorize it in such a short amount of time. It was hard to memorize. But I would go home and practice, or I would have one of my teammates help me practice. And eventually I could recite it in my sleep. I still remember it by now. So it was easy selling after I remembered it.
Congratulations. Once again, job well done. Now, I want to go ahead and pass the mic down to Dahlia. Dahlia, you've been a mock trial student of mine for the past 2 years. You played the clerk role, and I feel like the clerk role isn't one of those roles that's really recognized, but it's
very important.
It is a very, like Your Honor, like you said, it is an extremely important role because mock trial is all about timing, right? From the very moment you start speaking to the very last second is just time, and you have to be really quick with that time, with a timer, and you have to be really good with math and your time calculator because you're basically keeping both teams on check. So why don't you go ahead and talk to us about that, please?
So, hi, my name is Dalia, if you may or may not have already heard. I was a clerk for 2 years. I would have not joined mock trial if it wasn't for Mr. B. I'm still really shy. I'm scared to talk in front of people, and Mr. B just pushed me, like, in a good way, because if he wouldn't, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I'm thankful for that, because now I'm not as shy as I used to be, and it's helped me a lot. So my role as a clerk, I had to time everyone, and I had to make sure that when we were practicing, I kept everybody in their time frame. Like, I had to make sure that they were not going over, like, 7 minutes. Like, that was way over what they, like, the time that they had. Because everybody shared, all the witnesses shared 14 minutes altogether during the trial, so I didn't want anybody to go over. And while I'm doing that, I also have to be making sure that if people ask me for time checks, I have to have that. You have to have that calculated and then tell them how much time they have left. At first, it was hard because, like, they would ask me out of nowhere, and I was just looking at the time, like I wasn't really doing any of the math. But as like more and more trials went on, the easier it got. And the following year, I came back, and I was the clerk again, and I did the same thing over and over again, and it got easy. It was also really fun because I got to sit on the side as well, listening to the whole trial and having like my own opinions in my head. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm gonna miss being the clerk.
Talk about for a moment what it felt like when somebody would ask you for a time check. You have to stand up in a room full of people, despite the fact you're very, very shy. Everyone is staring at you, and you have to give them the precise amount of time because you have a second shadow clerk that's checking you to make sure you're not making mistakes. Talk about that pressure and how you overcame that pressure.
Well, it's still hard. Like, this year and last year, it was really hard for me to stand up and like tell them how much time they had left because of how shy I am. I would stand up and like I would start like shaking, but I still would do it. I felt really pressured, but it wasn't as hard for me to do it as it was the first year.
I think I have a question for all three of you. Victor had to leave, but the three of you that are left, I want you guys to answer this question for me. I know you felt the stress. I know you felt the pressure, the responsibility. I know you felt it all because I could see it when I would go visit you right before you competed. Am I correct? Yes? Okay. I want you to tell me what it felt like after you went through it. How did you feel about yourself as a person? Let's go ahead and start with you.
Well, after I've done my part as a mock trial student and in the court, it felt a relief. I felt a weight just being taken away from me. I felt relief that I did my job, and it was worth doing my studies and to learn my role. So it felt great after I've done my first, second trial, pretty much every trial.
Did you feel good about yourself?
I did. I certainly did.
I hope you felt proud of yourself because you should.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next student.
After, it felt like a breath of fresh air. Like I could finally breathe because like it was very nerve-wracking. It had me very nervous.
Did you feel stronger about who you are?
Yeah. Like I got up there and faced my fears basically.
Absolutely.
It felt like a good thing after.
Absolutely. So. Good. I'm very happy to hear that. Next student.
For me, I felt very relieved. Like, when I would walk in, I was very scared. And, like, when it was all over, like, how I felt just went away.
Let me ask you one last question, then I'll turn it over to Mr. B, because I'm sure he's got some questions for you guys as your teacher. After feeling what you felt, after doing what you've done in mock trial, how do you think those feelings and those accomplishments are going to move you forward as an adult in the real world?
Well, from my perspective, I believe that it will show me compassion to talk to other people, to understand and to really just be more confident on yourself, because mock trial really gives you the confidence to keep going, to just talk more loud and be more confident with yourself, because it's all about acting and being good with your character and be confident about it.
Good. Very, very glad to hear. How did feeling what you felt, how did doing what you did, how do you think all of that is going to help you moving forward as an adult in the real world? What is it going to do for you?
I feel like accomplishing something like that, it gives you like a sense of pride and makes you feel like you can do anything.
Absolutely.
And so like you apply that to other things you do because like it's rewarding. You work so hard and everything finally happens, so like you're happy and
you're stronger, right?
Yeah, you're stronger.
You feel braver.
So like push you out of your shell and make you do more stuff for that.
Very good. Next student.
Okay, so for me, so I'm very shy, like I said, and being in mock trial has helped me stop being as shy as I was. Like before, I wouldn't even be able to go somewhere by myself and speak up for myself because I was too scared.
Wow.
And now, after having done mock trial for 2 years, it's made me be able to do that by myself. I'm able to go places by myself too, without being scared to ask a question or do something.
That is so important because you're now going to be an adult moving forward in the real world. So you should be very proud of yourself that you can do that kind of thing now. I know I would be. Mr. B?
Yeah, so, to hear your comments and to hear what you're saying as far as the confidence and all that, I see it every year. I see it every year with those students that are very shy, that don't want to break out of that shell. They want to stay in their comfort zone. But the fact that you guys have been willing to step in and step up and seeing you grow has been so amazing, and that's what I enjoy doing. That's why I enjoy mock trial for so long, 10 years, as I said. I still keep in contact with some of my students, and they are doing some amazing things right now. They're either working in the medical field, they're working in law enforcement, they're doing things that they're really enjoying. And again, just to know that they're doing great and that mock trial helped, heck, I can do this for another 10, 15 years, right? Let's keep doing it. Now, I do want to talk about some of the students that aren't here right now. We have Ollie Quintero, who at the moment is actually at work. She couldn't be here today, but she did an amazing job in playing Harper DeRay. We also had Kaylee Lianos, which was another amazing student. She took on several characters, but she also did our pre-trial. And when she did pre-trial, for those of you that understand pre-trial, especially when it comes to mock trial, it is not an easy task because you are having to do case law. Now, Your Honor, I'm going to pass this to you because you're the expert when it comes to case law. If you could just briefly explain what case law is to our audience.
All right, well, the pretrial attorney has to review a closed universe, if you will, of cases. And these cases outline basically what the law is on a particular topic. And it tells you what the borders of the law are in that how an officer is restricted or how people have certain rights, that sort of stuff. These cases are what an attorney during the pretrial motion should use to argue against the weaknesses in their case and argue in support of their case. And both teams will try to use those cases to either hurt the other side or help their case. So the things sometimes students get tripped up with the most, and in all honesty is the hardest thing to get through, is the questions from the judges during the pretrial motions. You have judges who are experienced people in the legal field asking high school students about questions that most of us as judges would be asking of lawyers. And even though we try to make the questions a little bit easier in that we may or may not use the same legalese, that sort of complicated jargon that sometimes we can use as legal practitioners. It's still really, really hard. If you think about conceptually what we're asking the students to do is we're asking them to read cases, interpret what is being said in those cases, and then apply it to the facts that they are, again, subject to in that scenario that is our case every year. And so these are some very complex concepts of the law that take practitioners years to get through and understand, go through law school, get into practice somewhere and actually start litigating it and start arguing it, learning from their mistakes. And we're asking high school students to do this. And they also, for the most part, will memorize these arguments. And even if they don't memorize these arguments, they have to understand them in order to respond to these questions. And they certainly have to memorize the case law because they're asked questions directly about cases by the judges. And so it is a very hard role to play.
Thank you, Your Honor, for breaking that down. And in fact, so the fact that Kaylee Lianos only had one day to go over these cases and to learn as much as she could because Gaia Guillen, who was our pretrial attorney, couldn't be there that day because he had a family issue. And a shout out to Gaia because he did an amazing job. This, in fact, is his second year. Now, I am forgetting, well, we have another student who is Jonathan, who was our first year courtroom artist. And so in 9-10 years that we've been doing this, we never had one, Your Honor. And so the fact that he was there, he went in there and he did an amazing job. So, kudos to him. But last but not least, who are we forgetting, ladies and gentlemen? Diego Garcia Sarmiento. I'm going to go ahead and I'll pass the mic to you, Your Honor, and you want to give your perspective on him, and then I'll go.
Yes, he got a very special award during the ICOE awards night, and he got, I believe, an honorary award that I think Mr. B, Mr. Alizade, and myself, we talked to ICOE about it, and we wanted to make sure. And it's not just about Diego. I think it's moving forward that this occurs. We have a team that struggles not because the students are not smart enough or because they're not capable enough, but because they're struggling because they have a smaller team. They have to play multiple roles, and then they also have to contend with the conditions in which they fare from day to day. And again, some of the experiences they go through, some of us can't begin to understand. And so we have a team that has a lot of things that they have to overcome to get to court and competition every day. And so we wanted to make sure that while I am not a big believer, and I'll be frank about this, students, I'm not a big believer in everyone gets an award just for showing up. That's not who I am as a person. And I say this to my own kids, so I'm not just being hard on you guys, okay? I do believe in acknowledging the bravery and the courage and the fortitude that it takes to show up, even when you know you're down a few notches from the rest of the team. That, to me, says how brave you are and how willing you are to support your fellow classmates. And Diego came in almost at the last minute and took on the role of all the attorneys. So he did everyone's role on both the prosecution and the defense. And did he do this every night or just...
He did this every night, Your Honor.
And how much time did he have to prep to do all of that?
God.
And that includes opening statements for prosecution and defense. It includes direct examination, cross-examination for either prosecution or defense. It includes closing argument and rebuttal arguments for prosecution and defense.
And let's not forget the objections.
Don't get me started on the objections. The objections come from the opposing teams, and they are used throughout the attorney roles and the witnesses' testimony, sometimes because legally there's a great basis for it. Sometimes, to be honest, it's a distraction tactic. Sometimes it's a throw one side off. Basically, there's no other reason. And you have to be able to respond as an attorney would in a courtroom to that objection, and the judge is listening to you and everyone is staring at you.
True. Very, very.
And these rooms are full to the brim with people. Every time during the competitions this year, it was almost standing room. We had to fit people in and squish them where we could, and there was still people sitting on the sides and standing.
It was impressive. And
So talk about what Diego was able to do,
yes,
Mr. B.
Yes, Your Honor. And I know that a lot of the students could definitely, will definitely agree with me. Diego was supposed to graduate last year. Right. He was supposed to graduate last year. And he was on the mock trial team last year as well. And I asked him if he could stay. Right. He said, yeah, I think I can postpone it for a bit. So he actually decided to stay for the students, for the team. But he could have just simply said, I'm done, I'm out. And he didn't do that. And that's because he had a huge heart. He had a huge heart for the students, for his friends, for the team. And he stayed and he did amazing. I mean, for all of you Dragon Ball fans out there, he went Super Saiyan inside that courtroom, with all due respect. That's all I'm going to say. But he gave a fight. He was going up against two attorneys. He was doing everything on his own. And I know that the other students that were there and saw him, they saw that fire. They saw him. He was blazing. He was going.
Did he get a couple of awards?
He did.
He got the honorary award?
Honorary award, Your Honor. He also got MVP several times. But I think the best award that he took that night in those days, the memories, right? The memories, the days he spent with you guys, that's something that's going to last forever, to be honest, right? And so, Tom, it's been an amazing ride, and I know that next year we don't know what's going to happen. We never know what's going to happen, Your Honor, at Desert Oasis Phoenix Rising.
We don't know what happens here.
That's right. But we're hoping that if there are any students out there that are thinking of maybe transferring to DO, check it out. Check it out. I've always told
great opportunities over there. So
yeah.
I appreciate all of you coming in today and sharing this wonderful experience. And it's been really great having you here. So thank you all.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for having us.
This program was produced and brought to you by Spartan Sound Productions. Special thanks to our guest, Desert Oasis mock trial coach Eduardo Bencourt, Judge Monica Lepe Negrete, Desert Oasis mock trial student team members Antonio Beltran, Dalia Sanchez, Leia Buffington, and Victor Cuestra. Thanks also to Dr. Thomas Tacky, creator and executive producer of Spartan Sound Productions, the administration of Central Union High School, Mr. Javier Fimbres, and Power 98 for hosting us, and to you, the listeners.